One of the nicest things about producing this show, which is the last one we'll be taping for 2024, is that I can take some time to reflect on what the heck happened over the past 365 days that seem to have gone in just a blink of an eye. Presidential election year are so busy, it's like binge watching the Squid Games over and over and over again. Do you remember whether there were presidential primary elections in the spring and who were the candidates? Oh, yes. There were Democratic primary elections, and that Robert Kennedy Jr. and Congressman Dean Phillips challenged President Joe Biden. Who? Really? I don't remember much. At the end of last year, we were debating about the first year of the Westmore administration and what to make of the newly expanded county council from 9 to 11 members. We also focused on the growing unhappiness with the Montgomery County Board of Education and MCPS in general. Nancy, already we're hearing about the concern that the fiscal crisis before the General Assembly and the Board of Revenue estimates comes out, and its December report revealed there's a projected $2.5 billion gap between the general funds and ongoing spending. How will the governor and the General Assembly address this gap? I mean, the recent proposal to allow additional liquor sales isn't going to solve the problem alone. What are we looking for?
The standard gloom and doom from professional staff at the end of the year. I wouldn't get my panties in a bundle over this stuff. They have a problem. There's no question about that. It's largely fueled by this new educational obligation that they put together in the past year. They funded it for 1 year, I think it was, and the multitude of years are going forward. Don't have a solution. So they're scrambling now. I'm sure they'll come up with something. No doubt they'll dig into reserves. That often happens. And, they'll add a little bit here and a little bit there, and they'll cut back a little bit here and a little bit there. But I wouldn't expect any catastrophic result.
Well, the wonderful thing about technology is we can talk, but I have a hard time hearing your answers. So I'm just going to let Mark counterpoint what you said. So Mark, according to press reports, Governor Moore prefers to balance the budget, through methods like cuts and tapping reserves. Is this just, hoping that the General Assembly will take the heat and not blame him for raising taxes?
Well, the choice that he has is to extend the blueprint implementation over a longer period of time. That, as Nancy mentioned, is really the heart of the problem that we have for spending. That would obviously put him on the crosshairs of the Maryland State Education Association, the teachers union, and we'll see what would happen with if he did that. You mentioned in your questions the possibility of letting the legislature take the lead on that. I think we saw from this year's session that in particular, the Senate does not have an appetite for increased taxes. And I think that would probably be the weak point of a strategy of allowing the legislature to take the lead.
So this is really great, because I agree with both of you right now on everything. On everything you just said.
This makes for terrible television if we're all going to be in agreement, Casey.
Probably the first time in 21 years of doing this show that when I express an opinion, nobody really knows what I'm talking about. Well, maybe not the first time in 21 years. I look at Nancy laughing. So I think the real problem, of course, is how to rein in the budget. And the General Assembly, like all legislatures, has a hard time doing that. So I guess we'll just have to wait and see how things, play out in January. I know my industry is expecting to have a number of revenue enhancements associated with it, and we're going to put a full court press on to try to deflect those revenue enhancements. So we're just going to have to wait and see what's going to happen when the legislature convenes in January.